So, welcome to this episode of Latest Insights. My name is Elizabeth Finocchiaro, and this is my podcast that kind of birthed itself. I run them live every month, so you're able to join them live, interact, ask questions, just be in the live energy, and then they get uploaded to Spotify and YouTube. So I'm really grateful to be here another month of the podcast and just to chat, connect, and of course, share the latest insights. For those who are live, I want you to listen to this, and the ones listening to this as a replay, listen to this in the way that you want to. So whether you're doing things, making your dinner, making your coffee, going for a walk, whatever you're doing, just let me be a part of that. And if you do also want to lay down and take this in, that's a really great way to take in my words and my work as well, with your eyes closed and just receiving. A lot of people like to do that. So welcome to this episode. I am a breathwork practitioner. I've been doing breathwork for many, many years. It's really my life art and working with people. So I actually just got a notification today, or a reminder, that 8 years ago I started my first workshop called Clarity and Compassion. So it's always like, it feels like a celebration day of an anniversary for me, in a way of teaching. And from that workshop, I have gone full on. So it's been hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, over. I have no idea how many sessions and classes I've taught these past 8 years, but it has been my life work and my number one priority. So here we are, another hour together, another session, another time that I get to talk and I get to teach and I get to share. I just feel beyond grateful and blessed that this is my work and that you are all a part of it. So yes, those who are live, feel free to use the chat. And if there's anything you want to share, if it's resonating, if there's questions, please just interact as much as you want. So honestly, I don't have too much planned for this call. Like, usually I make little notes, and sometimes they are very big and sometimes they're not so big. But there are some things that I do want to share with you all. And the first is that I would like to connect a bit with the breath and the body, as always. So if you want to, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, if you want to relax a little bit more, right? Relaxing the hips, relaxing the legs. Relaxing the belly, and just noticing this little moment of shift can create a big difference in the body and in your experience. Joining the breath, meaning your consciousness is going to join the energy together. Feeling the inhale, relaxing on the exhale. And just knowing that whatever you've gone through today or recently, it always supports to have these little check-in moments with your body, with your mind, with your emotions, with your openness, your level of openness to the moment. And just little by little allowing yourself to drop in a little bit deeper. So take a nice big breath, following the inhale to the top, wherever it is for you today, and relaxing on the exhale. Little by little, constantly reminding yourself there's so much more than the physical. And the physical needs to also have that reminder. Little shifts making a big difference. I was just sharing when I entered this recording studio where I am right now to do this, and I'll have a breath session after this. I was saying I feel so sad how physical and practical the world has gotten, and that we need to remember the spiritual, the emotional, the energetic part of this world. And he responded saying, some of us are paraphrasing now, but he was saying something like, you fall between the cracks, and we want to inspire other people to go in between the cracks as well. So, you know, life gets busy. I don't know about you guys, but if you have things and stuff and people and children and animals and a house and responsibilities and work and all of these things, just be careful how practical your life gets, and just making sure that the spirit, the emotion, the energy gets, the same, if not more, of your attention. So just checking in with yourself, how much does your emotion, spirit, and energy get in your life? So you're planning, you're doing your things. This needs to be done, this needs to be done. I'm doing a good job here, I'm tracking this, I'm doing this. And then it's like, okay, but how am I feeling? What am I sensing? What am I connected to? How am I breathing? All of these things. And it takes a bit of a kind of this like spiritual warrior energy to prioritize that in our life right now, because so much focus is on the practical. And I'm getting sad. Like, I notice how sad I get when things get so practical. And the more you do the practices, the more you go into this world. I always say that, like, once you connect to a part within your body, your spirit, your heart, you can't really undo that experience. But it's just like in life, you can't undo experiences. Once you go somewhere, you can't travel. Like, you can't say you haven't been there, like you were there. And that's why I love, you know, doing emotional intelligence work or heart work, breath work, spiritual work, because once you've experienced something, you can't really go, you can go back, you can, but you can never go back the same person because you were there. It's like, but you were there. So many, and the tendency can be so, it can feel so, you know, easy to just like want to go back, be like, no, but you were there. You were in the depth of your heart. You know what it's like to be connected to your spirit, your soul, your intuition. So when you go back and you're just like not living an intuitive led life or a heart led life, you will know the difference, because you know. And I forget how I kind of started this train of thought right now, but it's this, sadness about how practical things can get, and how important these practices and experiences are for many of us. I mean, not for everyone, but people listening to my podcast, people in my world, I know it's important for you. And maybe it's new for you. You're feeling like, okay, but you know, for so many years, my emotions weren't important. For so many years, I couldn't bring out my spiritual gifts because I wasn't in the right environments, or people weren't supporting it, or I was the only one. Or for so many years, I didn't even know that it was possible to even have a healthy relationship. So how am I, going to be connected to my heart or be able to express myself? So you could be in the beginning of this, of being like, okay, now I'm feeling this is more important, and having new experiences of feeling like you're in your heart, feeling like you're in your intuition. And then you could be, kind of in a more, more normal part of it, where it's like you have listened to your heart so many times, you've listened to your intuition so many times. This is becoming a bigger part of your life. So this stage, but maybe you still feel doubt. Maybe you still don't feel strong in certain environments. Maybe and this can fluctuate. It's not like level 1, 2, 3, and you're like, it's very dynamic. But it takes a bit of experience and confidence to be able to have a soul-led life, a spirit-led life. And that's just my experience. And I'm sure you've experienced certain things too. So I guess there's a point that we want to get to, and you get to decide this for yourself of like, how soul-led do you want your life to be? How heart-led, how spirit-led, how practical-led, how physical-led do you want your life to be? Do you need to know all the practicalities before you make decisions, or is it more the heart that makes decisions? Do you need to know, do you have to have everything in place before, or is it more intuitive based? Is it a little bit practical and a little bit intuitive? I mean, you get to decide exactly how you want to live your life. So that's a cool question to think about, or to kind of feel into, and noticing, what works best with your personality. I've been meeting so many people lately. So now me and Carl, we're traveling. We've been traveling now for 20 days or something, almost 3 weeks. I don't know, 2.5 weeks or something. And I took a vacation, but now I'm back to work. And then we didn't really know where we're going next, but we know we have a ticket back home, but we have like time in between. And this woman came to me and she was like, "You don't know where you're going? Like, how is that possible? Like, you guys are just living like that?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You don't have a plan, like you're not structured." And I was like, well, I feel like I'm a very structured person, but I'm more of like an energetically structured person and a little bit practical. So like, we have a ticket home. Like, I know when I'm going home, and I have responsibilities. I know like what I need, and I know what I need to do and whatever, and all these things. But I was like, yeah, but I don't know the in between. I'm like, we have space, we can figure it out. So I have this more energetic safety, or this energetic structure. For me, that's okay. Like this intuitive, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is like a soul or a spirit or emotional, kind of like, where do you find your safety? In the practical, like needing the plan? Because there's so many people that would not be able to travel the way that we're traveling right now, because they need to plan every single step of the way. And for me, it's like, I need a plan. I need like a bigger plan. I need to know that I'm gonna, do what I have to do, and I need to be like responsible for the things that I'm responsible for, and have like a general plan. But there's so much space, because like, I just relax in spirit. I'm just like, I know it's all gonna be good. And yeah, it's been like multiple people coming to me that being like, I could never do that. Like, they need the practical, they need the physical plan, like the ticket in the hand. They need to have everything out. So would it serve them to be more heart-centered, or more like, making decisions on their heart and their spirit and their intuition? Maybe. They have to decide that for themselves. Like, you have to decide that for yourself, how you want to do things, how you want to make decisions. So moving forward, you can kind of feel into it. Am I making this decision based on practicality, based on physicality, based on mentality, emotional, spiritual, intuition? Where is it coming from? And where do you normally make your decisions? And if you could kind of have a best case scenario for your life, how would it be? I long for that kind of freedom. Yeah. Freedom is an interesting word also to define. And recently I defined it for myself. And I came up with this sentence that, or I don't know if it was a sentence, it was more this energy of like freedom to feel whatever is going on and still feel safe. Like, for me, it's like freedom is feeling this like safety without conditions, in a way. But yeah, right. So there's a lot of practical when having children. There's a lot of practical. So my kids have left home, and I'm guiding myself towards living in the flow. Exactly. So I think it's obviously so important to look at your life and look at your responsibilities. Like, even though I don't have children yet, I still have responsibilities, for example, to my grandmother. She's a big part of my life, somebody that I am really involved in and take care of. And it's like there's certain things that I just wouldn't do because of her, because I need to like be with her and want to be with her, and I'm such a big part of her. So then it's like finding, first of all, we have to be embrace. And I think this is the key to peace is like embracing what's going on in your life, like your experience, whether it's kids or work or whatever it is that you feel is a structure in your life, and then finding the flow in that as well, and trying to find your own ways of navigating and dealing and making decisions in that. And then they change. It will develop, as you said, like your kids are not they left home now, so it's like a new phase for you, it's a new chapter for you, and that could take some time. I could imagine deconditioning from having that type of structure and maybe being more practical, more physical, and now going into more heart and spirit and intuition. It can be a bit of a transition time. And for those that don't have kids, even still going from a life that was very practical and then going into a life that's very intuitive, like it'll be a transition time to kind of get used to it and trust it. Can I trust this? And and it takes courage to make decisions based on something you don't see. But seeing things is very practical, right? It's very physical. There's a freedom in the embrace. Exactly. Yep. Is a choice from the heart. Absolutely. Absolutely. Embracing is so important. No matter what cards have been dealt your way, if you're not embracing them and really seeing them, it's just like you're bypassing your own experience. And usually it's through experience we move. Like you need to be in the experience of your life and really see what's put in front of you, and be able to not run away from it or avoid it, and really try to keep moving it in a sense. And that's so important. So, and this kind of brings me into one of the main things I wanted to talk about today, which is I had a sentence. Let me see if I find it actually. Oh, it's a good one. So, yeah, this is a sentence that I want you guys to think about, and I'm not going to go so deep into the teachings of it, and because I'm actually having a master class about this next Thursday. And let me see here. Yeah, so it's called the coin of contrast. And the concept here is dissolving the separation of what you want and what you're experiencing. So what you want and what you're currently experiencing. Dissolving the separation between what you want and what you're currently experiencing. This is what we're going to talk about next Thursday. And this masterclass is included inside of Breathe Live. And so, but I did want to talk a little bit about it. Yeah, the masterclass is on the 24th of October at 7 p.m. European summertime, Central European summertime. So a lot of the times I was having an audio inside of the Ripple Effect, which is my mini membership that's also included inside Breathe Live. And I do audios there 1 week. Every month I do an audio for a week and have different topics. So the next month in October, which is starting next week, is going to be about transitions. And last month it was about being seen, heard, and met. So every day for a week I did little audios about being seen, heard, and met. And one really stuck out to me, and I said it in a way I've never said it before. And it was, and I named the audio, include the not happening in the happening. So sometimes when we want something in life, we're waiting for it to happen. And then we say, it's happening, like, because you can see it, because it's actually happening. It's like, it's happening. And then when it doesn't happen, when you don't see it, you say, it's not happening. It's not happening. And I realized that separation, that stop, is really an illusion. And I think it is creating a lot of lack of momentum for many of us. And this came up for me a lot recently as an insight of it needs to be included. Like the not happening, if you include the not happening in the happening, then it's always happening. Okay, so some might be like, wow, that was really deep. And others would be like, wow, that was really deep in a sarcastic way. So you can take it however you want to take it. But because I have, Gabriel's just laughing. Oh my gosh. Because in my path of emotional intelligence, some of you know my story, some of you don't. I had a really rough emotional relationship to life, to myself, to people. I didn't feel worthy of love. I didn't feel worthy of success. I didn't feel like I was good enough in a lot of things that I did. I felt very spirit led, so I'm very spirit led in my life. So at a young age, I started teaching, I started doing things, but my human, my practical part of my life did not feel worthy of any of these things, did not feel good enough for any of these things. And often in my relationships, I didn't feel worthy of love. I didn't really believe that people cared about me. I couldn't receive love in a deep way. And so the emotional healing part in my life was so important. And so you can have a spiritual awakening. And then I think there's another part which is called an emotional awakening, where you actually start to realize that, yeah, your patterns, like kind of shadow work type of things, right? Like, okay, I need to take responsibility of my projections, or I see that I'm, attached to this type of style of love, or I validation type of stuff, mother, father wound stuff type of stuff. It's a big, big, big box to dive into. And a lot of people can have a spiritual awakening and not have that emotional awakening. And for me, spiritual awakening came first, and the emotional awakening came years after. So what I'm saying with like including the not happening in the happening, for me, it just created a much smoother experience. So for me, it's all about smoothing out life. This is my work. This is what I'm interested in. This is what we do in breath work. We're smoothing out the breath. We're smoothing out the circle. We're smoothing out the emotional processes. We're smoothing out how we treat ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, how we communicate, how we navigate things so it doesn't get so rigid. It doesn't get so hard. It doesn't get so sharp. And of course, it's going to happen. Like sometimes you can feel sharpness and rigidity. It's going to, again, the not happening is in the happening. So if we have a big context of, okay, smooth sailing or ease, right? Ease is a very big thing in my life. So I'm inviting you to kind of find a big thing for your life, like a big motto, a big word, a big energy that leads your life. And you might not have one yet. I believe that you already have one. It's like deep within you. You just kind of you have to get it out, because it's like ingrained in your being, your purpose type of thing, like your signature, like your energetic signature. If you get a lot of compliments about your energy, you'll probably find your signature there. If someone's like, wow, I always feel calm around you, that's what I always get. Like people, I'm very calming. I'm very like, take it easy. Like that's my vibe. Where other people will be like, wow, I feel so energized around you. And like that energy will probably be like playful, fun. Like that's their signature. Or so you have to find your signature in life. And it can be, another one of mine is like trust. It's such a big important word for me, and it's not just like an intention that I work with for like a moon cycle or a month inside Breathe Live or something like this. It's a life intention, trust. And then ease is kind of the energy. Trust and ease are huge for me. So like, what are your things? Maybe it's like playfulness and depth, or yeah, same with the trust. Yeah, trust is huge. It's like a huge life intention. Peace is also a really big one for me. Yeah, and talking about values, this is something I talk so much about. And we go deep into healing the heart, like creating your own personal values and how do you actually apply the values. So it's not like you just write it down on paper, but how do you actually start to integrate the values into your life and into your relationships? This is huge. So including including the not doing and the doing. When you have a bigger picture on an energy standard, so we talk about standards and values a lot inside of healing the heart. When you have an energetic standard in your life, so if it is ease, trust, peace, and then something happens in my life. So, I mean, it can be multiple things that, things are happening in my life all the time. My life is not all trust, ease, and peace all the time. There's so many things happening, so many things go wrong. I make so many mistakes. If you're a client of mine, like in my spaces, you'll see I make mistakes. I'm like, I really try my best. And throughout the years, things have gotten very professional and very like good in my business. And I'm very proud of where I am and how professional I am. But of course I make mistakes sometimes. And even behind the scenes mistakes that my clients don't even notice. I'll do something wrong on the website and I'll spend 3 hours trying to figure it out. And so it's like my life is not all, ease, peace, and trust happening all the time. In my personal life, things will happen, family stuff. There's things. And, personally. But all of those things, I put them under the same umbrella as the good things that are happening. I put them under the same umbrella as my success and my gratitude and the things that are working out, and just generally thinking that, sensing that I'm a lucky person and that I can trust this process, or I can ease into this, or it can be easier. Or if I'm going through a hard time, I'm like, well, this is literally what I have to do to make it easier. So it's part of ease. So hardship is part of ease. It's the same coin. Right? There's certain things that take me so long to learn and are so time consuming and frustrating. But I'm thinking to myself, well, once I learn this, it's going to be easier. So it's not about getting it right away. It's about understanding that there's a coin and there's two sides to a coin. And the other side it's the same coin. And when I'm talking about emotional intelligence, I know I'm kind of like have a lot of side stories going and I'm trying to keep bringing them to the same thing here. But when I'm talking about emotional intelligence, this has helped me so much because suddenly there's not that much separation. Suddenly I'm not going from I'm doing great to I'm a terrible person, or this is great to this is terrible. Or I'm feeling on top of the world. I'm feeling like I'm nailing this and everything's working out. Now I'm worthy of whatever it is. And then if it doesn't work, I'm like, I'm not worthy of whatever it is. The coin is, they're not drastically different currencies in a sense. They're not in different worlds. It's the same coin. So I'm thinking if I have a bad day, well, it's part of it. Not every day is supposed to be, feeling on top of the world. And I'm not supposed to have everything figured out. And I'm not supposed to be perfect in all my things. And that's the same journey of my ease, peace, and trust. And it's the same journey of success. So feeling unsuccessful is actually part of my success story. And I just include it all. And it's so good for my system because I don't have these fluctuations like I used to have. There's so much smoothness now. It's just like the coin, smoothed out. So I hope this supported you. I'm going to go deeper into this concept next Thursday. I'm going to bring examples. I'm going to share more stories. We're going to do some exercises of like how you can smoothen things out for you, how you can notice in your life, certain processes that you're going through that are actually the same process. You think they're so different and you think one you're worthy and the other one you're not worthy, but it's actually all the same and you always have been worthy. So it's a lot about detangling and dissolving the illusion of the separation. And we're going to go deep into this next week. So I'm just going to take a little moment, have something to drink. Those who are live, let me know if this is landing, resonating with you. If there's any questions or anything you want me to go deeper into, feel free to put that in the chat as well. And I will just take a little half a minute to get some water. Great. It's nice to have a little pause in the middle there. It's about living life fully. It's the up and downs that make this journey worthwhile. Yeah. Yeah, and you hear that from a lot of people with wisdom. And then sometimes maybe at a younger age or wherever you are in your journey, you might not feel that truth in your bones, right? Or in your heart. And when you're having a down day or when an experience isn't going the way you thought it was, you forget that. Like it's really hard to remember these things when it's happening because it feels so real. And that's why the dissolving of the separation is so important, because if you deepen that in your life, then suddenly you don't separate things anymore. And obviously it's a huge practice and you can go very, very deep into this, right? With mysticism of no separation of anything. It's very healing in my experience, very inclusive and yeah, very healing. I'm practicing including the not happening in the happening. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm just so, yeah, I'm so grateful it came out that way. Maybe it's going to be a new like coined thing of mine, the not happening. Because I always say it's happening. And then now we're in like the next level. Like the not happening is still happening and it's always been happening. So act accordingly. I have to remind myself that all the time. When things aren't going the way I thought they would go, which is happening all the time in my life as well, I have to remember that like things can change in a moment. A great sentence to live by. Oh, that makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I have to remember that things can change so quickly. And if it was already happening, even though it feels like it's not happening, but if it's happening, what would I do? How would I live? How would I show up? How would I feel? Dissolving the illusion and the separation. There's so much experience we need in this life, or need is not really the word, because some might say you don't need any experience. You just have to be, and you are the experience. It is the experience. You don't need the experience. You are the experience. And there's a way of learning here where is the becoming energy. You learn through experience. You become wise through, okay, I went through this, I learned that mistake, I'll never do it again. Now I'm good at it, right? It's like a classic, I can do it in 10 minutes because I've done it for 10 years, right? Where someone else, it would take them 2 hours or 5 days, but it's because you've made so many mistakes that you can do it now in 10 minutes. And then usually, in a career, you get paid a lot of money. The one who made the most mistakes are usually getting the best paid because they are quite experienced, right? Exactly. Experience is what makes me alive. Yeah. And they deepen life. So not like checking out of the experience that don't feel that things aren't going your way. Just being like, wow, okay, the not happening is in the happening. So what can I do in this moment to be more awake? How can I learn? And I think, so let me give you a practical thing about this that's just coming up now. Sometimes the not happening will make us, like I was saying earlier, give you some sort of emotional reaction, not feeling worthy, not feeling good enough. And what happens when you don't feel worthy or good enough? You usually freeze or avoid or, want to check out. And then you stall that not. So this is the emotional intelligence work that I'm so passionate about. And we go into healing the heart with is, so going into that for a long time is that is what is, really destroying the spirit. It's okay to not, I believe that, it's okay to doubt yourself. It's okay to have fear, obviously. It's natural. It's okay to feel like, oh, I'm just not feeling, right now I'm having this story that I don't feel good enough. Like these things will happen, but it's about how long do they last? Because if they last 10 minutes, an hour, okay, it's fine. If they last a day, it's okay. You had a little day where you forgot who you were, and that's fine. But if it's lasting like a month, 3 months, half a year, 5 years, 10 years, you're going to start to feel it. This is going to really start to impact your mood, your inspiration, your creativity, all of these things. So, the practical thing that I can share with you guys as the end of this podcast would be to try to make a move so that you can gain the experience a bit faster. And I'm not saying that you have to speed up the process and like do things faster, but it's more this because time is irrelevant here. So it's kind of hard to use the word faster. Let me continue and we'll probably find a better word. So the idea here is that when you feel like things aren't going your way, there's probably decisions that you can make, right? So you can complete the thing, send the thing, if it's a practical thing that you made a mistake with. See if you can move through it as quickly as possible. It's the same as fast. Okay, we're going to keep going. The idea here is that you don't get too stuck on it, because the idea is that it's going to make you want to feel stuck. The not happening is going to make you want to believe it's not happening. And if something's not happening, what do? You kind of just like sit and wait for something to happen. Right? Like if you show up to a concert or something and they're like, it's not happening, you'll just go home, or you'll just be like, okay, what do we do now? And like, oh, I don't know if I'm using good examples here. Just seeing in your life the happening. Okay, so bear with me here. I'm just going to use the story that I brought up now because I brought it up. So if you go to a concert and they're saying, well, the concert's not happening, and you sit there and you go, okay, it's not happening. This is not happening. So then you kind of tune into something and maybe you start walking a certain direction, and then you see people doing something. And part of you, if you believe it's not happening, you're just like, okay, I'm going to go home. The night's over. We're done here. Be disappointed, be upset, whatever. And then you pass someone on the way and you hear a guitar playing. And you're like, oh, I hear some music. And then suddenly there's like a little jam happening in the parking lot or something. And then people are playing music and something's happening. And you're just like, okay, well, this is happening now. And then you meet someone, and then you go to like an after party, or you go to their house, and then you meet that one person that had that thing for you in a connection. And have you ever been with a person who finds the happening in everything? I have some friends in my life. I have two people in my life that if you're with them and you're going to go out for a night, you could end up anywhere. And I always joke about it, but it's like you could end up on a boat, you could end up on a flight somewhere, you could end up in a random person's like house party, you could end up at a concert because they have the magic of finding the happening anywhere they are. And they tend to attract amazing experiences in their life. And these people are usually outgoing, they're usually quite sensitive, they usually pick up the pulse of what's going on, like, oh, we should go there, or we should talk to this person, and suddenly you get VIP tickets to the backstage of it, and suddenly you're there, and then suddenly you're on your way to. Do you guys have one like that in your life? I have two people like that in my life. I'm actually meeting one tomorrow, one of them, and the other one is my partner's sister. Is like, she ended up being in a sauna with 50 Cent. It's like, of course she was in a sauna with 50 Cent. You never know with these people where you're going to end up. Because if you tell them something's not happening, they'll make something happen because they know something's always happening. They'll make that little right turn, and then they'll go into that little place and they'll talk to that one person, and that, because they're like wired to just flow with the pulse. So I'm not saying that you have to be this like super outgoing person that, puts yourself in all these situations. But when you feel like something's not happening, whether it's a little moment, a day, a month, a year, see if you can move. Because the part of you is going to want to stop and go home and just be like, nothing's happening. There is a part of us that don't want things to happen. They don't want you to move. They don't want you to go out of your comfort zone. They don't want you to talk to that person. They don't want you to go to that place that you normally don't go to. There's like mechanisms in our body to keep us safe beyond what is necessary. And these are the mechanisms we need to kind of relax, breathe into, and see if we can move in a certain way. So I hope that made sense. I hope you got something from that last little bit there. And even if it's a practical thing, so earlier today I had to do something, felt like it wasn't working, and I wanted to just stop. I was like, I'm going to stop. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And I was like, no, do it now. Just push the button, do the thing, da 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 da. And it's like, okay, now it's done. So, thank you for tuning into this episode. I really hope it supported you. If you are live right now and you want to write a little comment, a little question, a little, did this resonate? Was it hitting? Feel free to do that. I'll stay on for another minute. And thank you again so much. Check out the show notes if you want to have access to any of the links. Breathe Live is my breathwork membership where I teach and guide 2 sessions a month and a masterclass and release a meditation. It's really the place for you to go deeper into my sessions, my teachings, all of the things. And the ripple effect, the Telegram audio is included in there, and some other resources are in there as well. And what else? We do these live podcasts every month, so you can join live if you want. And if you are in Norway, I have a weekend immersion coming up the 15th to the 17th of November in Askøy, so it's outside of Bergen. The deep dive, this is kind of a fundamental training, but you can use it for your personal life as well. So it's amazing if you're a coach, if you're working with clients and you want to deepen breathwork awareness into your practice and you want to get some hours of breathwork training. But even if for your personal life, this is going to be such an amazing weekend for you to get your own breathwork sessions, questions answered. And I'm going to teach you a lot about the framework, the foundations of my work within breathwork. So it's going to be a great weekend, and I'm super excited about that. So the information will be in the show notes as well. So stay connected. I hope this episode served you so much. And feel free to leave a rating as well if you have the capacity. And yeah, I have been waiting so long for you to come to Bergen, but I'll be traveling. I feel like that's so typical. People tell me all the time, like, come here, and then I go there and then they're not in town. So it happens all the time, but it's all good. So another time then. All right, I'm sending so much love again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this. I will see some of you next month, and stay connected wherever we are connected. So much love. Bye, everyone.